Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
All right, so you wanted us to dive into this whole American cultural imperialism thing.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really is. And this audio clip you sent over, it really gets into how American culture goes way beyond just movies and music. It's like it's woven into the fabric of the internet itself.
It's pervasive, that's for sure. And it's not always this overt thing you can put your finger on. It's often subtle, influencing what we consider cool or just normal online.
Right, exactly. It's like, you ever get that feeling like you're just scrolling online, maybe looking at memes or whatever, and suddenly something just asterisk screams asterisk America at you.
All the time. It's like this inescapable cultural gravity, even in the digital world.
Totally. The audio actually uses Casablanca and Gone with the Wind as examples, which, okay, a little old school, I know.
Sure, a bit dated maybe, but it makes a point.
It does. It really does. Because those movies, as cheesy as they might seem now, they were huge internationally.
Oh, absolutely. Box office hits around the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's deeper than just the plot or the actors or whatever.
Yeah.
They were selling a vision, this idea of the American dream, finding romance, adventure, success, all on your own terms.
And that vision, that American dream thing, it's not just some marketing ploy. It's like deeply ingrained in American identity.
Totally. It's this core part of how Americans see themselves, and it gets woven into all these cultural exports.
So you're not just watching a movie, you're absorbing a whole worldview almost by osmosis.
Exactly. And this isn't some new phenomenon either. The 20th century.
Yeah.
Talk about a masterclass in exporting American culture.
Right, for sure. And speaking of sneaky influence, music. Gotta talk about music.
Such a powerful force.
Jazz, rock and roll, hip hop, all American born, and they've left their mark on, well, the entire planet. I mean, think about the global impact of Elvis.
Huge. And it's not just about the sound either. Each genre, in its own way, it carried these core American values. Freedom, rebellion, self-expression, it's all baked right in.
And then MTV comes along. Suddenly, those images, those sounds, they were beamed into homes all over the world.
Exactly. MTV was huge for this. You couldn't escape it.
Oh, man, MTV. I remember spending hours trying to learn every single move from Michael Jackson's Thriller video.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about copying the dance steps, right? It was about tapping into that energy, that feeling that the music embodied, even if you were halfway across the world.
Okay, so music's huge, but the audio clip you sent over, it goes beyond just the arts, right? It talks about brands like Coca-Cola, Levi's, McDonald's.
Right. And they became more than just products. They became these symbols of American culture.
And I never thought of it like that.
Think about it. You're not just buying a Coke. You're buying into this idea of classic Americana. It's tied to this idea of soft power.
Soft power. I'm not familiar with that.
Basically, it's persuasion instead of force. Like you're not being forced to like American culture, but it's so pervasive, it's everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's so cleverly marketed that it becomes the default cool in many parts of the world.
So, like, you don't even realize it's happening until you're craving a Big Mac while blasting Bruce Springsteen and dreaming of a classic American road trip.
Spot on. And that influence, it just seeps into everything. Think about something like Fulbright scholarships. It's a great program. Gives students from all over the world this chance to study in the U.S., to immerse themselves in American culture firsthand.
Right, like a cultural exchange program. Sounds awesome.
It is. But it also kind of subtly spreads American values and ideas.
I see what you mean. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
That's the question, right? It's like those jazz musicians who toured the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Yeah, it's about connection, about sharing art and culture, but it's also about showcasing American culture in a very deliberate light. Makes you wonder, is cultural exchange always a bad thing? Or is it just a natural part of how connected the world has become, especially now with the internet?
Especially now with the internet. Which, speaking of, to really understand this whole cultural influence thing in the digital age, I think we need to talk about how the internet changed everything.
Pandora's box, right. This incredible tool for connection. But is it truly a neutral space?
Definitely not. I don't think so.
No way. And this is where things get really interesting when it comes to American influence. Because now we're talking about the dominance of American tech companies.
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
They're the new public squares, that's for sure.
Totally. And they're not just places to post pictures of your lunch anymore. They're where global culture is being shaped, in real time.
And who's calling the shots on those platforms? Largely these American companies based in Silicon Valley.
Exactly. And that's where this whole cultural imperialism thing takes a really fascinating turn, because now it's not just about the content being shared, it's about who has the power to decide what content is even allowed online.
We're talking about content moderation, which, with billions of users and even more posts every day, that's got to be a logistical nightmare.
Oh, a total nightmare. And the really fascinating thing is, these companies, oftentimes just to avoid controversy, to avoid legal issues, they end up defaulting to American values and sensitivities.
So can you give me an example? How does that actually play out?
Sure. Take nudity, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of platforms, they have really strict rules against nudity, which, okay, that directly reflects American cultural norms on the topic.
That makes sense.
It's the same with graphic violence. Those algorithms, they're designed to flag and remove anything deemed too extreme. And by who? You guessed it. American standards.
Wow. So decisions being made in some Silicon Valley boardroom are directly impacting what someone on the other side of the world can share about their art, their stories, their lives.
Precisely. And it's not just about what gets taken asterisk down asterisk brew, but also what people asterisk see asterisk brew, what gets amplified. And that brings us to algorithms.
Algorithms, those things have always sounded kind of mysterious to me.
Think of it like a recipe book for your online experience.
Okay.
The ingredients are your data, what you like, what you share, what you post. The algorithm is the set of instructions. And the final dish, well, that's your personalized online experience.
Okay, I think I'm following.
It's what you see on your feed, what gets recommended to you, all supposedly tailored just for you.
So it's like a digital filter bubble?
Exactly. But if algorithms are just lines of code, how do they get influenced by American values?
That's a good question. It's not like someone's sitting there programming like, be more American.
Right. But here's the thing. Someone asterisk writes asterisk that code. And those someones, they have biases, right? They're trained on these massive data sets that reflect certain values and preferences.
So even with the best intentions, these algorithms, they might end up favoring content that aligns with American values.
Exactly. Creating this subtle but pervasive shaping of our online experience.
Wow. So we've gone from movies and music to algorithms that shape what we see and do online. It's kind of a lot to take in.
It is, and it gets even more complex when you bring AI into the picture.
AI. Hold on, are we really going there?
We are. It's like Black Mirror, right?
Okay, now you're just freaking me out. But seriously, AI. You're saying AI is now making decisions about what I can and can't see online. What I can and can't say asterisk above.
It's happening, and it's something we need to be talking about.
Things just got real. Okay, but give me some concrete examples. How does this actually play out?
All right, let's talk about Midjourney. It's this AI art platform that can generate some really amazing visuals just from a text prompt. You tell what you want to see, and boom, art.
That's pretty wild.
It is. But as advanced as it is, it's still got these built-in rules. It's prohibited from generating anything with nudity or violence.
Okay, on the surface, that might seem, reasonable, responsible even. But what are the larger implications here?
Think about it. A classic painting like Botticelli's The Birth of Venus.
A beautiful painting.
Right. But that could get flagged as inappropriate by an AI like Midjourney simply because it depicts nudity, even in a classical, non-sexualized context.
So even our artistic explorations in the digital world are being subtly shaped by these pre-programmed values.
It's both fascinating and a little unnerving when you think about it.
It really is. And this isn't just limited to art, is it?
Not at all. Look at something like ChatGPT. It's this AI chatbot that can basically write like a human. Incredibly sophisticated.
Yeah, ChatGPT is pretty amazing.
But also incredibly cautious.
Yeah.
Try asking it to write something edgy, something that pushes boundaries. You'll probably hit a wall.
It's like we've created these AI systems that are basically reflections of our own anxieties, our desire to avoid offense at all costs.
Right. And in doing that, are we inadvertently perpetuating a specific cultural perspective at the expense of others?
That's a big question, and I think that's a great place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground, from classic movies to cutting-edge AI, and I think it's clear that this idea of American cultural influence online, it's complex. There are no easy answers.
Definitely not. It's nuanced. It's something we need to keep unpacking.
Exactly. So let's pick up this conversation in the next episode, because I think there's a lot more to explore here. So it's almost like we've exported our own cultural antibodies into this digital space without even really meaning to.
That's a great way to put it. These algorithms, these AI systems, they're not these neutral judges of information, right? They're built with this specific idea of what's okay, what's appropriate, almost like a cultural safety net.
Hmm.
And that idea, more often than not, it's rooted in an American perspective.
So it's more than just American companies following American laws or regulations.
Way more than that. It's almost like this unconscious self-censorship that happens on this global scale, like this desire to avoid offending the sensitivities of a global market, which, let's be real, these companies want to capture. They want as many users as possible.
Right, so these tech companies, in their quest to avoid controversy, to get as many users as possible, they might actually end up spreading a particular set of values that are basically shaped by their own cultural context.
It's really kind of a trip when you think about it.
It really is.
Yeah, it's like this subtle, behind-the-scenes form of cultural influence, this preemptive silencing of anything deemed potentially objectionable. And it's not coming from governments or official bodies or anything like that. It's coming from this invisible hand of the market as interpreted by algorithms and AI.
Which makes you think about all the voices, all the perspectives that might be getting lost or silenced in this whole process.
Absolutely. It brings us back to that fundamental question, right? Is any of this inherently asterisk bad asterisk? Or are we just seeing the evolution of a globalized culture where certain values and ways of expressing ourselves just naturally become more dominant?
It's a tough question, and it's easy to feel kind of powerless in the face of it all, How do you even begin to address something so widespread, so ingrained in our digital lives?
Yeah, you're right. There's no easy fix. But I think the first step is awareness, just recognizing that these subtle influences exist, that our digital experiences, they're not neutral. They're shaped by choices, by algorithms,
Yeah.
and by the values embedded within them.
Okay, acknowledging it is a good starting point, but then what? What do we do asterisk with that awareness?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, right? That audio excerpt you shared, it emphasizes the importance of staying engaged, of having these tough conversations about power, about influence, about the often hidden ways our online experiences are being shaped.
So not shying away from those uncomfortable questions, even if the answers are messy.
Exactly. It's about understanding that the future of our digital world, it isn't set in stone. We actually shape it through the choices we make, the voices we amplify, the demands we make for greater representation and diversity.
So it's about being active participants in shaping this digital landscape, not just passively consuming whatever content comes our way.
100%. It's about recognizing that those seemingly harmless algorithms, those lines of code that personalize our online experience, they actually hold immense power. The power to amplify certain voices and perspectives while silencing others.
So our individual choices, the platforms we use, the content we consume, even just like how asterisk we interact online, it all adds up.
It all matters. The decisions we make right now as individuals, as a society, about technology, about regulation, about the very asterisk, the nature asterisk of online discourse, they're going to have a ripple effect. We're shaping the digital world for years to come.
It's empowering, but also kind of daunting to realize that we have this role to play in shaping this digital frontier, even as we're trying to navigate it ourselves.
Yeah, it is both, absolutely. But it's also an incredible opportunity because if we can become more aware of these subtle influences, if we can start asking those tough questions about who benefits from the way things are structured, then we can start to imagine and build a digital world that is more equitable, more inclusive, more representative of the amazing diversity of human experience.
I love that. Okay, but how do we actually make asterisk that happen? How do we go from just awareness to action?
It starts with education. Understanding how algorithms work, how AI systems are trained, how our data is being used to shape our online experience.
So basically, becoming more tech savvy, more discerning about the information that we consume in this digital age.
Exactly. It also means demanding more transparency from these tech companies, pushing for greater accountability in how algorithms are designed and implemented.
So not just accepting the technology as it is, but actively advocating for changes that promote fairness, diversity, a wider range of voices.
Precisely. Technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. The key is being informed, staying engaged, and never stopping questioning how these technologies are shaping our lives, our cultures, our understanding of the world around us.
So, in a way, it's about reclaiming our agency in this digital age,
Yeah.
shaping the online world that we asterisk want to see, rather than just letting it shape us.
Exactly. And that's a journey we all have to take together. Because the future of the digital world, much like the future of our planet, it depends on our willingness to engage, to ask questions, and to demand better.
It's like we're not just along for the ride here. We're all digital explorers,
Yeah.
right?
Hey.
Charting this new territory. And we
Yeah.
need to be mindful of the footprints we're leaving behind.
That's a powerful image. And it highlights something really crucial. This isn't about saying, like, American culture is bad and other cultures are good. Not at all. It's about making sure that the digital world, this amazing tool that we have, reflects the full spectrum of who we asterisk are as humans.
Right. So it's not about erasing American influence, but making space for other voices, other stories, other ways of seeing things alongside it.
Exactly. It's about pushing back against this idea of one dominant narrative, celebrating the richness that comes from diverse perspectives. And that starts with just being intentional about what we consume online, which platforms we use, whose voices we amplify.
Okay, so those are all great points, but what can we actually do asterisk about it? How do we go from just like being aware to actually making different choices in our digital lives?
Well, one big thing is diversifying your media diet,
Mm.
you know. Make a conscious effort to seek out content creators from different backgrounds, different cultures, different parts of the world. Because it's easy to get stuck in a rut, to just see the same kinds of perspectives over and over again.
Breaking out of those filter bubbles, those echo chambers where everyone just agrees with us all the time.
Exactly. Because it's when we encounter different ways of thinking, different ways of seeing the world, that we can start to challenge those subtle biases that all asterisk have.
So, being more curious online, actively seeking out different perspectives, even if they make us uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, it's not always easy, but, and this is important, don't just consume passively either.
Mm.
Engage with the content you find. Ask questions, push back against assumptions, and be open to having your own views challenged.
That takes guts, but it definitely sounds way more interesting than just nodding along to the same old stuff all the time.
Way more interesting. And don't underestimate the power of your actions. Support creators and platforms that resonate with your asterisk values. Use your platform, however big or small it is, to boost those voices that are often drowned out.
So our clicks, our likes, our shares, they all add up to something.
They do. They really do. They send signals to those algorithms.
Hmm.
They influence what other people see. And they contribute in a small way to creating the kind of digital world that we asterisk want to live in.
It's like we're all weaving this giant digital tapestry together, and the threads we choose, they determine what it'll look like in the end.
What a great way to put it. Because the future of this digital space, it isn't some predetermined thing. We're actively creating it every single day.
That's exciting, but also a little daunting, to be honest. So, to kind of wrap things up here, it sounds like this whole issue of American cultural influence online. It's complex. There are no easy answers.
Definitely not. It's something we need to keep talking about, keep exploring.
But the good news is we're not powerless against it. By sparking these conversations, asking critical questions, and just recognizing our own power as digital citizens, we can all help shape a more inclusive, more representative online world.
100%. The more aware, the more engaged, and just the more intentional we are with our digital lives, well, the better this digital future will be for everyone.
That is a fantastic note to end on. Thank you so much for diving into this topic with us today. And to everyone listening, we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.